A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Hungaroring and race 2 of the Competition 102 GT4 European Series, about to take place here on this 4.3 kilometre circuit. Conditions absolutely perfect for racing, and if race 2 delivers as much drama and as much excitement as race number 1, we're in for a rocker, that's for sure. As we look at the cars and drivers assembling down there on the grid, it is a packed grid of cars ready to do battle as we reach the sharp end of the Competition 102 GT4 European Series Championship, with, following this race, just one round to come, and that round will be at Zandvoort. Okay, let's take a look at our pole sitter, Luca Anselmi. Now, the Maserati GTMC GT4 yesterday was befell by woes with a puncture, which took away a almost guaranteed podium place, regrettably. So Zamperini and Anselmi having a tough time of it, but hoping to do everything from pole position today. Certainly right at the very start, the car looked good and quick. Then to P2 on the grid, and the E-Chris BMW of Ricardo van der Ende, with Bernhard van Harangia as the second driver. Mandatory pit stops come between 20 and 30 minutes into the race. 85 seconds minimum pit stop duration. And we turn our attention to the victor from yesterday. Peter Terting then, with Jörg Wiebahn, extremely dominant in the race yesterday. Has to be said, with work to do, though, from P3 on the grid today. But the start yesterday from the Porsche was absolutely blistering. So expecting good things from that car. And right alongside then, as we take a look at grid position number 4, we find Ricky Christodoulou in the Porsche Cayman, a Pro for GT4 car. And Ricky then, best am in yesterday's race. So, down there on the grid is Nina Fifner with Gabi Ulier now.
Good morning, Gabi. Good morning. How are you today?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes.
So, how was your race weekend till now?
Well, it was very much fun. The track is very much fun here, and in the GT4 series there are lots of big, nice cars. So, yeah, I like it.
Perfect. And what is the aim for today, for this race?
The aim is the podium, of course, but as you can see, I have a long way to go.
Well, let's hope you make it. So, Lisette, you do the second stint. What are you trying to get out of it?
Well, I hope that Gabi can go to the front as much as possible, and then I can keep up and just try to overtake my husband, of course, who's driving in the Porsche from Brookspeed. And we are almost driving the same lap time, so I hope I can overtake him. That would be my aim for today.
Yeah, that will be a fun battle for sure. So you were the first woman driving in GT4.
Yeah.
Great achievement.
That's really great. It's because we are like family drivers, and well, I just it was possible for me to take part on this series, and so yeah, I just have a lot of fun now, and it's very nice to see that more women are participating now.
Perfect. So have a good race.
Thank you.
Good luck. Bye.
Lisette Brahms then, absolutely up the girl power, I say, and go out there and jolly well beat hubby if you can. We will see, and thanks very much, Nina. So Gabi and Lisette then with work to do, it has to be said, from the 10th row of the grid. But hey, we will see. As we go back to our pole-sitting car there, and we are just moments away from the race getting underway here at the Hungaroring. It's not the first race on track today, so there's a bit of rubber has been laid down by a Porsche Championship race that was on just ahead of this GT4 European Series round, as we zoom in on the Ricardo van der Zende car. And then the two Cayman side by side then of Peter Terting and Ricky Christodoulou, or Christo. And what, as Lisette was saying, a fantastic array of machinery that we see in the GT4 Championship. Absolutely no question about that. Luke Brahms and Huisman then in the number 41 car. Down there on the fourth row of the grid. Duncan Huisman it is that will be driving the car first of all during the course of this 50-minute race. And interesting this year is GT4 have done not only sprint races but endurance races as well. And the strength of the championship really playing into the hands of those drivers that want to compete and compete regularly and perhaps don't have quite the budget of the hugely expensive GT3 campaigns now. So GT4 going through a rich vein of interest, and that's really, really good to see. And already things looking very, very promising for 2017 as we reach the almost conclusion of the 2016 campaign. So Gabi Ollier and Lisette Brahms then, who Nina was speaking to just a few moments ago, with the ambition and aim to go forward on the grid, going from P19 in the BMW. And it'd be very interesting to see what they can achieve during the course of the race. As I said, conditions almost perfect, I would suggest, for racing. Should mention Nikolai Muller-Madsen going from P5 on the grid, was on the podium yesterday. It was Terting and Wiebahn, Knapp and Severs and Van der Ende and Van Oranje that finished 1, 2, 3 in the pro class. And in the AM class, it was Christodoulou and Struve, and then it was Muller-Madsen and Patzelt, and Caitlin Wood and Cedric Friberghaus that were up there on the podium in the AM category. So the two categories, Pro and AM, and of course the team championships as well. And in the GT4 Pro class, Peter Terting and Jörg Wiebahn in a very good position right at the top of the chart as the cars are released then on their formation lap. Now, interesting start to the race yesterday. Alongside me is Ralph, my producer, who missed the very start of the race on account of the fact I think he was getting me a cup of tea at the time, where there was an electronics problem with the lighting gantry. So they had to do another formation lap whilst the man with the screwdriver fixed the lighting gantry. And it's the second time that it's happened in the GT4 series because it happened earlier at Po. Bit of interesting facts for you. Okay, cars weaving from side to side to try and generate some temperature into those tyres. And it's just a very, very good example of what a fantastic mix of GT4 machinery we can see on grid. So many awesome looking cars, including those Caymans and Maseratis and KTM crossbows as well. Okay, here's the grid in full for you. Anselmi and Zamperini going from pole. Van der Ende and Oranje P2. Then it's Terting and Wiebahn going from P3 with Christodoulou and Struve P4. Then it's Muller-Madsen, Patzelt, Dupont, Dumay, Vlok and Vinke, Huisman and Brahms and Dresser. And the rest of the order there, obviously you can keep up quicker than I can. Keep an eye from P18, though, on David Fairbrother and Wayne Mars as well. A couple of UK racers there being engineered by one Mr. Mark Jenkins. So from jolly good stock, it has to be said. So see what they can do from their group position today of P18 running in the AM Championship. So it's a very challenging circuit as we see the cars going through turn 6 and turn 7. The really true chicane here at the Hungaroring and head towards turn number 8. Weave their way through turn 9, turn 10 and turn 11 before it's a real blast, full throttle, going downhill from turn 11 into turn number 12 before the cars are all slowed up before almost doing a half oval before returning to the track as a real S section between turns 13 and 14. And there is the track in full for you on screen. And we pick the cars up then on their way from turn 11 down to turn 12. Going to be fraught at the front right at the start of this race. Going to be all action going into the right-hander, which is almost a hairpin turn number 1, which just comes back on yourself. Air temperature 17.5 degrees, track temperature 16.1. So into this first section of the S's that I was talking about, which is at turn number 13. A slight bit of banking on turn 13 as well, and it's really interesting to note that different drivers take different lines through there. Okay, appearing on the right-hand side of the screen now is the pit in, which of course, after 20 minutes of this race will become very busy indeed. So, in theory, the safety car should peel off, which indeed it does, and now it is the responsibility of those on the front row of the grid to control the pace of the rolling lap as they head towards the lighting gantry. The excitement begins to mount, so too does the anticipation and the engine note as they head towards the lighting gantry, which we cross our fingers and hope will work today. Indeed it does. We go green. Let's go racing. GT4 European Series Race 2 of the weekend. And what an absolutely phenomenal start from Ricardo van der Ende then, who puts that car from P2 into P1. Keep an eye on the two Cayman Porsches running on the second row of the grid. They are absolutely side by side. One or two of the cars do run wide, but all of them have got through the first turn and into turn number 2, which saw just a little bit of carnage yesterday with some panel rubbing going on between some of the racers in the early stages of the competition. And the pace that van der Ende has in that Icarus BMW, already having eked out a incredible gap over Anselmi in the Maserati GT car. 50 minutes of race action to come from this European GT4 series. And now Anselmi is being pressured for P2. So through turn 6 and 7, the chicane for the first time of asking in anger as the race is underway. And once again, we pick up the top 3 cars. So Terting then really pressuring Anselmi ahead. And already problems for the number 54 crossbow of Helestgen Gas. And there you can see that car running right at the back of the pack. Okay, so one turn to do before lap 1 is completed here. And thus far, Anselmi has been able to hold Terting at bay. Now this is where Terting will have a go, going into turn number 1. Try and get a draft off the back of the Maserati. Not absolutely sure, close enough to be able to do so. Muller Madsen in P4, but Terting then up the inside. Heavy braking now. He's able to scrub off the speed. Is Anselmi going to be able to come back? No, I don't think so. Terting has got the job done and goes from P3 to P2, but Anselmi comes back on the outside now as they head into turn number 2 and keeps the pressure on. Was there just a little love tap between the two of them there? I'm not sure. They go through turns 3 and turns 4 now, downhill and out to the back of the circuit. Whilst this battle is going on for P2, of course, it's all playing into the hands of Ricardo van der Ende, who's able just to get up the road with a 1.3 second margin already. There's Simon Knapp then battling hard with the number 35 car, that Swiss team machine. Crossbows are running wide there. It's the car of Chris Vlok. There we pick up the number 8 car, which is currently running P13. So another one of the Icarus BMWs. This one being driven by Simon Knapp then, who with Rob Severs took P2 in the race yesterday. Big work to do for them to get on the podium today. And being hounded and pressured all the way by the Fascicolo Calamia car. Through this little banked oval section, which is the first part of the S's. And let's take a look at the replay of the start right now. And as they cross the timing line, just about side by side, but it was van der Ende that had got the speed, had got the momentum, and had got the power. Heading down towards turn number 1. And Anselmi would be denied. And there we go, picking them up through turn number 1. Thankfully, all the cars made it through with no problems at all. Just 1 or 2 running a bit wide, and this in replay. Fantastic, we're able to get these replays as Simon Knapp then made his move past the number 35 car. And that is a huge lockup from that car. In fairness, that's the number 36 car of Tresoldi with, well, you talk about flat spotting tyres. I should think that offside front is like a cube now in comparison to the original round shape that it had. That was a huge lockup. So back to the race live we go. So Van der Ende and Terting then have got P1 and P2, and Selmy now back down to back to P3. All that going on whilst we were looking at those replays. In the meantime, Huisman in the number 41 car is P7. Christodoulou then is the best of the AMs running in P5. There is the order then. It's Van der Ende, Terting and Muller-Madsen now ahead of Anselmi. So then the Porsche's looking very strong here at the Hungaroring, and the Maserati now into the P4 place and about to come under pressure for P4 as well. And Christo it is that's running in P5. Here in replay then was the Muller-Madsen overtake. That's an interesting place to do that. The gap, the door was left open, so through the inside, wasn't going to need inviting twice, and so we run to the outside of the track. And now Nikolai Muller-Madsen is ahead of that Maserati as they go through the chicane. Oh, and throwing everything at the car through those turns. Actually, one wheel being lifted off the ground there. We're 7 minutes into this second of the two GT4 races, and the margin between Muller-Madsen and Luca Anselmi then, as you can see live on screen there, as Anselmi now fights back. And Muller-Madsen has got his rearview mirrors full of that Maserati that he has passed, but has not been able to break away from it. So all of a sudden, Luca Anselmi has... whoa, gets a big lock-up. That will run wide, and that will play into the hands of Ricky Christodoulou running in P5 just a bit, enabling him to get a little bit closer to that Maserati. So all of a sudden, Anselmi, rather than attacking the place, lost to Muller-Madsen. He's going to have to think about defending now, and defending potentially into turn number 1, which is where they're heading right now. Reach the crest now and starts to go downhill. So Muller-Madsen, there's Anselmi, and there's Christodoulou. And in the meantime, just looking a little bit further back, Knapp then making his way up the order as well by passing the number 84 car of Dresser. So that's another place got. Now the chase is on to the number 41 Porsche, which is ahead now. Being driven by Duncan Huisman. And there you can see that very car that we're talking about, and there is the Ecris BMW now chasing down that number 41 Porsche. If you look at the moment, there's plenty of action going on in this GT4 race. It is the second race of the weekend. Both races same duration, 50 minutes, with the mandatory driver change pit stop to come between 20 and 30 minutes into the race. Through the chicane they go then, and fighting back now is the number 84 car, which was involved in so much of the action yesterday. Marcek Dresser, one of the pro drivers, driving with Mad Siljahav. And, well, it's 3 for that spot at the moment, isn't it? Being fought over there in the lower points paying positions. Knapp had always got big work to do. And Anselmi then has got Muller-Madsen back. So another change. So Nikolai Muller-Madsen then, he had got that place, and that has now been retaken by the number 90 Anselmi car. So Anselmi now showing a clean pair of heels to the Porsche as this fight continues to rage. Now, what's advantageous here to the Knapp car, Simon is able to get up the road because these two are fighting now. The order on screen: Van der Ende, Terting, Anselmi. Then it's Muller-Madsen, Christodoulou, Dupont, Huisman and Knapp, which is the battle that we look at now as they go into turn number 1. So Kalamia is P9, Dresser is P10, then it's Lennart Marionek, Vlok, Kruger, Jorge and Kasperlik, who's the only driver that's driving on his own this weekend, who's running in P15 with Getzi at P16 currently. So the Ecris BMW then, comfortable there in P8. But just to give you some idea of the incredible pace out front, some very nearly 12 seconds down on teammate race leader, Van der Ende. So this is how Anselmi got through against Nikolai Muller-Madsen. Bold, brave move, but one that absolutely worked. And that was the number 84 car of Dresser being relegated. Working hard there. So they're proving what I'm saying, that Knapp is able to get up the road a little bit from the number 35 Kalamia car. And focus on trying to get past Huisman ahead in the number 41 Porsche. And that number 84 Crossbow, it's like a snappy little puppy, isn't it? Just having a go everywhere, and side by side. It's going to be a long way round, though, the final turn, turn 14, and I suspect it's not going to work. So, yes, having to move in once again behind the number 35 car of Kalamia. As the leaders cross the timing line, Van der Ende, Terting and Selmy, Muller-Madsen, and then Christodoulou, who's seemingly not able really to get on to terms with Muller-Madsen or Anselmi at this moment. A battle between the two fantastic-looking cars going on there. The number 24 car, driven of course, by Lennart Marionek. And they are Knapp, P8, and heading after the Duncan Huisman car ahead. Meantime, this intriguing little battle that is going on between the number 24 car of Lennart Marionek and the number 84 car of Maciek Dresser. So Knapp then right on the back of the Porsche ahead now, currently running in P8, trying to make his way up the order. Of course, leading that little gaggle of cars, if you like, is the Aston Martin Vantage, being driven by Dupont. And out then goes the car of Max Tresoldi. And that's how that happened. Straight onto the replay there to watch that car pirouetting. It will be able to return from there, but clearly much further down the order. Right. So, Knapp has got ahead then of the Porsche, and now trying to do exactly the same is the Maserati. Is it going to be able to do it? Certainly got the inside line going into turn number 1, but Huisman is able to carry more momentum through. So at the moment denied. So that is actually acting as a nice cork in the bottle for Simon Knapp then, who is now able to make the chase down to the Aston Martin Vantage of Dupont as they go downhill. So there is the seemingly frustrated number 35 car then of Mauro Kalamia. And there you can see Duncan Huisman then. They are now running P8 and P9. The margin between them is just tenths. And of course, Kalamia is consistently and constantly having to defend the number 24 Lennart Marionek car as well. Lennart just sitting there rubbing his hands with invisible soap, waiting for these two to get involved in all sorts of skirmishes so that he can take advantage. As first into the pit lane then is Max Tresoldi. And that is going to be, sadly, a retirement potentially for the number 36 car, which is a shame to see. So that's Maserati out. In the meantime, Ricardo van der Ende, who we just saw at the back of the shot, is now some 3.1 seconds to the good as the rest of the cars battle here, and the constant pressure then from Lennart Marinek surely has paid off now. Yes, it has. So Marinek are now trying to go all the way around the outside in the final turn. Whoa, taking curb grass, AstroTurf, concrete, you name it. Trying to have a go around the outside, the number 84 car, but losing out on traction there. So a real ding-dong battle between the two of them here. And at the moment, Lennart Marinek is the one that is now... Well, they're still absolutely side by side. Again, Marinek is going to have the better line going through that sequence of turns. Weissman not letting Knapp get away too much. Knapp, of course, trying to chase down the DuPont Aston Martin, which is ahead. And Ender, Terting and Anselmi, the 1, 2, 3. But quite rightly, we're focusing on this battle, which is perhaps the most exciting that's going on track at the moment. And it is the battle that's being played out for P6, 7, 8 and 9. In truth, all those places up for grabs and could go either way. We have 33.5 minutes of the race remaining, and the action has been pretty non-stop from the very off. Weissman now under real pressure from the number 24 car, being driven by Lennart Marinek. Tim Stuppel it is that will be in the car for the second stint of driving. So Weissman and second driver Luke Brahms then. Weissman it is that's having to adopt a real defensive stance currently. Been impressed with is the number 7 DuPont car, who's not fallen into the pressure at all of Simon Knapp, who is in that BMW just saw in the picture there. So they head now downhill going into turn number 1. Marinek P9, then Calamia, then Dresser and Volk. Well, whatever the number 24 car, wherever Marinek is put in that car, Calamia is following in every single wheel track and not letting the car get away. Nor too is Duncan Huisman with Simon Knapp. So Lennart Marinek and Mauro Calamia then so close together. The battle between the Crossbow GT4 and the Maserati GT, which has been pretty enthralling in truth, and all of a sudden now Knapp has got a bit closer to DuPont. So DuPont is acting like a cork in a bottle here because he's got 5 queuing up behind him. Is the pressure going to play on the driver of the Aston Martin? Well, we will see. At the moment it's the BMW that's putting the most pressure on there, but there's another 4 or 5 cars just queuing up behind, ready to have a go as well. It could all either go very well or it could all end in tears and bent metal. We will see as the laps continue to count down and the clock ticks as well. We're into 31 minutes of the race remaining. Huisman and Marinek absolutely side by side. And Calamia there also really involved in that mix. So they head towards the timing line now. A real defined move by Huisman there to the inside of the circuit. Calamia doing exactly the same as well. And Knapp now having to think about defending rather than attacking the Aston Martin ahead. And that has brought Knapp back into perhaps the clutches of Duncan Huisman once again. And breathing a sigh of relief, I suspect, is Dupont in the Aston Martin, who's running in P6, who has built up just a few car lengths now over the Simon Knapp machine. This is our race leader. Sorry, we've hardly seen him, and that's the reason is he's 5 seconds up the road from Terting, who in turn is another 3 seconds up the road from Anselmi. Then it's Muller Madsen and Christodoulou. They're all running the top 5 positions at the moment, but the pit window opens now. Now, Van der Ende, who will swap driving duties with Bernhard van Oranje, should and has built up such a margin that there should be no undercut opportunities here unless they get it absolutely wrong with regards to timing in the pit lane. I can't imagine that. As a round goes David Fairbrother. I was saying about David Fairbrother and Wayne Mars, perhaps one to keep an eye on from P18 on the grid. Well, we can see the David Fairbrother car having gone around. They were running in P20 with Ulier, who was the subject of our interview on the grid, running 1 place ahead. Well, still this fraught battle is continuing. Simon Knapp now has left Huisman and the rest by just a couple of car lengths now. So no one choosing to pit really early on. Van der Ende then with a 5.7 margin over Terting. Huisman and Calamia absolutely side by side there and going for the switchback. Is it going to work as we pick the cars up now? Again, absolutely side by side, but Calamia will have the right line to go into the next turn. Huisman gets, oh, so close. Running really rapidly downhill there as well, so the braking momentum has to be absolutely spot on. Knapp once again trying to reel in that Aston Martin of Dupont. Right, into the pit lane we go, as all of a sudden it does busy up. Now the pit window is open. Mandatory time is 85 seconds, as in is the car of Kasperlik. Also one of the Reiter Engineering KTM crossbows coming in. And the car of Kryhammer and Van den Balk. And fascinating to watch these driver changes go on. Also coming in, I think that's the sun shining on the front of that car. Yes, it is the Fairbrother car. So David Fairbrother out, and Wayne Mars then. Current UK GT Cup Open champion is Wayne. He'll be taking over driver duties from David Fairbrother. So once the pit stops are ongoing, everything will shake out after everyone has done their mandatory pit stop. So Terting and Anselmi then fighting over P2, because Van der Ende, as you can see, is we're so far up the road he could be in Budapest city centre almost. He's got some 6.4 seconds worth of margin. So, of course, Terting is having to focus on defending against Anselmi, and still Simon Knapp has not been able to really make a move on Dupont, because he's now being really, really pressured by the Calamia Maserati there. And Duncan Huisman is still in that mix as well. So Simon Knapp is having to defend really hard. Wayne Mars on his way out of the pit lane then in the number 99 car. You can see that car rejoining now. In the meantime, in the number 84 KTM Crossbow, the driver change going on there. So Maciek Dresser out, and Siljahav, Mad Siljahav, who's jumping into the driving seat there. Terting then, still there in P2, and Selmy still chasing that P2 position down. Van der Ende then, who have we got in the pits? The number 84 car, 51, 40, and Ulier, who we were speaking to on the grid, is allowing Mrs. Brahms into the car for the second half of the race. Lisette, who will take over. The warnings with regards to track limits as in comes the P2 and P3 driver. Been much less today than yesterday, and under investigation is the number 76 car of Giovanelli and Giuseppe Gezzi, one of the AM combos for pit stop time, whether they shortcutted the pit stop. So P2, 3 and 4 all coming in together. Terting, Anselmi and Muller-Madsen. So the Anselmi car is in then, and Zamperini, Patrick Zamperini, waiting to take over there. Terting in as well, so Jörg Wiebahn will be taking over the driving duties in that car. And for Nikolai Muller-Madsen, it's Andreas Pacek, that will be taking over driver duties there. Really good that we've got our cameras sort of focused on these pit stops, because they're really, really interesting to just look at the steam coming out of the front of the Terting and Jörg Wiebahn car. Zamperini being strapped in. So when the pit lane does become a busy place as well, have to be conscious of not allowing cars to be unsafe released into the path of other cars, as the Friedberg House car and Wood car is in. Right. Released is the number 35 car of Fascicolo. Here comes Fascicolo now. So Ricardo van der Ende then still out on track currently, having chosen not to pit yet. So you can see the Fascicolo car there and Ricardo van der Ende there in the number 9 Ecris BMW. Meantime, others in the pit lane continue their quest to get that mandatory pit stop done. The clock continues to count down, of course. These are considered sprint races, and the pit lane becomes busy, and this is where unsafe releases can happen, but thankfully all appear to be able to take account of the traffic in and out of the pit lane here at the Hungaroring. So Carsten Struve then into the Ricky Christodoulou car, and in the meantime, as cars return back out onto track, other cars under investigation for pit times include the Peter Larsen and Johan Rosen car. And this in replay. There is, just momentarily, we saw the number 8 car of Simon Knapp, and it's Rob Severs that will be taken over. Race later in then. Here comes Ricardo van der Ende, Bernhard van Oranje. Oh, it was a lock-up just to get down to the pit lane speed limits. Ricardo van der Ende comes in then, and as I mentioned, Bernhard van Oranje will be ready to take over the driving duties in that Ecris BMW. So hopefully we will stay with this. Oh, and out is the Rob Savers car. So that car right up against the barriers there. In the meantime, Bernhard van Oranje then into the car, but there is the Rob Savers car, who's literally only just got into that BMW, and that's how it all went horribly wrong. Piles on the, you can look at the brake dust coming off of the front brakes as he applies so much pressure to try and scrub the speed off, but ends up going sideways into the tyre barriers there. And the Severs car then is out of the race. In the meantime, Bernhard van Oranje is in the car, which is the stablemate of the team, if you like, the number 9 car, which was leading the race, is released by the team. Ricardo van der Ende having done a good job in the first stint of the race and waved double yellows, of course. Pit window is now closed, and we're back to the race proper, and it's all shaken down and changed the face now. So there is the Maserati, and then we can see the Porsche that was driven by Müller-Madsen in the first stint of the race. Now, where are we at with the Rob Savers car? Well, at the moment, because that clattered into the barriers, driver's side on, he's right up against the barriers. So trying to get Rob Savers out of that car without moving the car first is going to be jolly difficult. And I'm not, despite the fact there is double waved yellows, the car has got to be recovered. Well, we'll see how it pans out. Well, Rob is out of the car, in fairness, but safety car has been deployed, which is exactly what I thought would happen. It's just by virtue of the fact of where that car is. Now, we saw Rob Savers go off there. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that somebody else could go off there as well. Now, where this is really, really unfortunate is for Bernhard van Oranje, who, of course, is now going to get everyone stacked up behind him. And the changing the order, it's now Van Oranje who is running in P1, and then running in P2. It's going to be the number 41 car. So there's the number 9 car, which is effectively the race leader. The safety car has been deployed just to complicate matters still further, to actually recover the stablemate BMW of that race leading car. So there is the safety car ready to pick them up. And this is all brought about by the recovery of the Rob Savers BMW that is into the tyre barriers. So safety car is deployed. And that means that all the advantage that Van Oranje had over Zamperini is gone, because they will all queue up now. Will make for a fascinating, fraught fight to the finish, though, that's for sure. And there is the Zamperini car. Jörg Wiebahn, of course, will be running in P4, and he'll be fancying his chances as the recovery vehicle is down there. Now, hopefully this will all be done really rather quickly, because there's the replay again. I'd like to see that from one camera further on to find out where it went wrong. Or what was the start of it, just carrying so much speed into that turn. So, interestingly, the only retirement of the race is that BMW from Rob Savers, which looks so strong. Well, the car is rather inelegantly hauled out. I have to say, it was quite an impact to the side of that car, but tyre barriers doing exactly what they are supposed to do. So seeing this in replay now. Thus far revealed very much. This is our race leader, which is now Bernhard van Oranje, taken over from Van der Zande. Whose huge advantage has been lost now by dint of, ironically, car from the same stable, causing the safety car to be deployed. Some interesting discussions in the Icris motorhome after the race, I would think. Safety car deployed, and there, Zamperini then, and the car of Pacek right on the back of the pack there for 1, 2, 3, and Jörg Wiebahn again, who looked so impressive at the start of race 1 yesterday. Wiebahn will really fancy his chances at the restart. Now, under investigation for speed limit in the pit lane is our P3 driver, which is Andreas Pacek. Now, whether the speed infringements was when Nikolai Müller-Madsen brought the car in, or whether it was when Pacek left the pit lane, don't know. Also under another couple of cars under investigation for the same reasons, including the number 21 car, which is currently running in P5. That is the car, of course, that was driven by Christo, but is Struve the wheel of the car now. So again, whether the pit lane infringement was pit in or pit out, don't know. Well, I would think it will be just this lap behind the safety car before the safety car will be released, because the Sievers car has been taken to a place of safety. Keep an eye on the timing screen and the lights atop the safety car as well, because once lights are out, then we know the safety car is coming in and we can go back to race action. And as I say, I would think that will happen before the conclusion of this lap, and we will get back to racing. And as I said, it's going to be a fraught fight to the finish, that's for sure. Absolutely. My estimate was correct. The safety car is coming in this lap. So, Bernhard van Oranje then with work to do to try and hold off Zamperini, and also the number 19 car of Andreas Pacek. And the one for me that's going to look strong at this restart potentially is from P4, Jörg Wiebahn. We'll keep an eye on it and see how it develops, because at the end of this lap, the safety car is coming in. Stand by. So through the chicane they go. About to get the race restarted. It's going to be about 12.5 minutes left on the clock for the race. Conclusion of this safety car period. And from P5, car number 21 is going to get a drive-through penalty for exceeding the pit lane speed limit. So too is car number 34, which is running much further down the order. That's the Wood car. But crucially, from P5, car number 21, Struve, is going to get a drive-through penalty. So Bernhard van Oranje now will try and back them up as he controls the pace of this restart. You can look just how keen Zamperini is to be on terms with that BMW and try and anticipate when he's going to floor it. Those two have really broken away. Coming straight in is the Porsche to serve that drive-through penalty. And away they go. It is a fight for P1 at the moment between Bernhard van Oranje and Zamperini. Jörg Wiebahn then is up to P3. But Bernhard van Oranje doing a good job there in defending from Zamperini. Zamperini's going to have a long way to go around the outside at turn number 1. Don't think he's going to be able to make that work. Change going on for P4 as well as the rest of the cars come through following the safety car period. We're back to racing once again. It's a flat-out 11.5-minute battle now to the checkered flag. On the outside there is the number 35 car of Fascicolo. Doing a good job there, and Bernhard van Oranje then really is under pressure from Zamperini. Zamperini then in the Maserati, Bernhard van Oranje in the BMW. They are side by side, and just so much confidence and commitment in that Maserati to the inside now. Heavy braking. Yellow flag in turn number 4, and there's a change for the lead. Well, through that chicane, that was a really good move from Zamperini. He'd got that lined up and set up absolutely perfectly. And now Bernhard van Oranje, as the back end of the car steps out, is going to be under pressure from Jörg Wiebahn in the car that's running currently in P3, the number 18 machine, but Zamparini, look, is up the road like a thing possessed. So, having been released from the clutches of the E-Chris BMW, it is the Maserati that leads now. So, Bernhard van Oranje then continuing to have to defend because Jörg Wiebahn, who is running in P3 at the moment. Wiebahn himself has got defence to think about, though, from the number 84 car of Siljehav. So Zamparini from Van Oranje, Wiebahn, Siljehav, then it's Fascicolo and Stuppel running in P6 with DeMay and Chadwick then occupying the top 8 positions, as you can see on screen, with Giovanelli and Mäkinen and Kasperlik and Brahms and Rosen and Brahms and Mars up to P15. Mundi is P16. Here it is then. P1 then being taken here. So much bravery around the outside. Oh, and there was just a little touch between the two of them. And that probably unsettled the BMW a little bit going into the chicane. The overtake really was done. Jörg Wiebahn was very nearly able to take advantage of that as well. So it was a determined move by Zamparini, but good move nonetheless. And now Van Oranje having to think about Wiebahn, who is just 6/10 behind. Interesting pictures on screen now. Zamparini is leading the race where we had just a momentary blackout. And now losing a handful of places, look, is the E-Chris car. Also falling back down the order is Wiebahn as well, because Siljehaug is like a thing possessed now, and he's going to find himself in P2. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them, so for the moment, Van Oranje is able to hold his own. Wiebahn might be able to get back now as well against the KTM crossbow. There's real elbows out defending going on there, and elbows out attacking as well. All of which plays into the hands of Zamparini, who's able to get up the road. So this in replay, and thanks very much for getting this replay in so quickly. That was where there was initial contact. Van Oranje was not going to let him get away with it, and there you can see there was contact part 2. And now Wiebahn in the Porsche that you can see involved in this battle, and Fascicolo is just thinking, right, I'm going to have some of this now and get involved in this scrap as well. So Fascicolo is currently running in P5. Struber is its P6. Wow, what a race. And Zamparini is saying, thanks very much. I'm 3.5 seconds up the road. So Zamparini, Van Oranje, Siljehaug and Wiebahn, which is the car that we're looking at right now, which is currently running in P4. What have we got left on the clock? Time to breathe yet? 7 minutes. That's what we have. What a race this has been. Race number 1 was full of drama and excitement. Well, race number 2 has been pretty much non-stop in the same direction. So Bernhard van Oranje then, who is currently running in P2 and defending for all he's worth, trying to make that BMW as wide as possible, and Siljehaug is taken to the curbs, grass and anything else that they can throw at it to try and make that move work. And whatever the number 84 car is doing from the RYS True Racing team, that KTM Crossbow GT4 car, it's like a snappy little puppy, isn't it, out there just constantly nibbling at the BMW ahead. Oh, and I think that was just a genuine mistake there by Bernhard van Oranje. The pressure got to him, and now the KTM Crossbow does go through to take up P2. So Siljehaug then into the P2 place, and there you can see the BMW just running wide there. And interestingly, on that occasion, there was no provocation in terms of panel work. It was completely on his own, as is Zamparini, who's 5.5 seconds on his own up the road now. So Siljehaug, and here comes Wiebahn then, who's currently running in P4, but Siljehaug runs really, really wide, and Bernhard van Oranje goes back to P2. Whoa, this is brilliant stuff. And now fancying his opportunities is Jörg Wiebahn. Now, watching all this is Fashikolo thinking my opportunity is going to come in a minute and I'm going to be able to get past the whole blowing lot of them. Well, we knew it was going to be fraught to the end, but this battle is phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant racing in this Competition 102 GT4 European Series. Here in replay then, Bernhard van Oranje chooses to go to the outside. Now, Siljahag just carries too much speed and runs wide, and that allows Bernhard van Oranje, who'd got a better entry into that turn, to say thanks very much. Ta-da. Now, the number 84 car is fighting back again. Oh, and they're side by side and out. Out goes Van Oranje. There was contact between the two of them, and Bernhard van Oranje has gone. Oh, what a great shame, because it had been so nip and tuck between the two of them. Oh, that really is a great, great pity. Right, Fashikolo fancies his chances against Jörg Wiebahn. So Wiebahn now finds himself in a podium place. So let's see this in replay. So as Van Oranje turns in, well, where he's turning into, the gap is full of that KTM crossbow, which means the Ecris BMW just goes around and around. Not been a good day for the Ecris BMWs, it has to be said, with the Rob Severs car into the barriers. Zamperini, though, is 6 3/4 seconds up the road. Wiebahn defending for all his worth in P3 at the moment, as Fashikolo is trying to wrestle that final podium place away. In the meantime, you can see now that Siljahag has got some real pace, and fortunately that's probably being overemphasized by virtue of the fact that Wiebahn is having to drive using the rearview mirror more than he would like, because he's having to defend from Fashikolo here. 3.5 minutes remaining. Look at the margin on the last 3 laps between Jörg Wiebahn and Giuseppe Fashikolo. There is Siljahag going through the turn 6 and 7 chicane they go. They take plenty of curb through there, and there's been an issue there, and that's the Reiter Engineering car of Vinca then in contact. That was a spin and a half, wasn't it, from the Struve car, which of course was returning following the drive-through penalty. Look at that. Both of them pirouetting out there on track. So lucky not to be collected by another car, to be truthful. Right, back to this battle that is going on for P3, the final podium place in the pro category. And now got the inside line, and this should be it for Fashikolo. Yes, he's through. So Fashikolo then, it's Zamperini leading by 5.5 seconds from Siljahag, and now it's Fashikolo then that has got P3 and actually did that right at the start of the start-finish straight. Jörg Wiebahn will be utterly furious about that, having defended so well for so long. All his defensive efforts have failed because it is now Fashikolo in the number 35 car for Swiss team. That Maserati Gran Turismo GT4 car through into the final podium place. And this is how it was done. It was all set up on the exit of turn number 14, really, before the start-finish straight, but just with the inside line momentum that had, I have to say, the pace of the KTM Crossbow of Siljahag is just flying. It's 5.5 seconds behind Zamperini. So, and the car just ran up against the barriers there. So Siljahag, by pushing so hard, ran into the barriers, and that has allowed Fashikolo to get ever closer. We've only got less than a minute left of the race. If Siljahag can rescue it from there, and providing he hasn't done any damage running up against the barriers, this is how it happened. All sorts of issues through the chicane, and then turns these steering on, but that was quite a big impact, actually. And if that car has survived that without any terminal damage, he's got away with that, and that's a big got away with in this race. So at the moment, the car looks to have the pace and looks to be okay. I think it's a difficult one to handle now, but Silja Haag might just have got away with that. So Zamperini now 9 seconds up the road from Silja Haag, following that glancing blow with the barriers. Here it is again. It was just carrying too much speed into the chicane and was certainly never going to be able to control that. Once, of course, you're on the grass, you're a passenger, but it's right at one of our camera positions there, so we were able to pick that up. And again, good that we were into the replay so very quickly. So there is Fasicolo then running in P3, but is beginning to reel in Silja Haag now, and is going to fancy this P2 position, potentially. So, well, the KTM is not showing any signs of utter ill handling at the moment, still being able to deliver, although in the first sector, some 6/10 down on Fasicolo, so Fasicolo clearly quicker. So can Fasicolo reel in that those tenths between the two of them? Here's Zamperini then, who is up the road by some 9 seconds over that Silja Haag car. So Zamperini then. And here comes Silja Haag. How close now is Fasicolo? Not close enough, truthfully. Silja Haag and Dresser finishing the race yesterday, of course, in P4. And it was P5 for Calamia and Fasicolo. Zamperini then onto the final lap with 7 3/4 seconds of an advantage for the number 90 car, which of course finished way down the order in P20 yesterday. So Zamperini really wanting to take this race win, and has got, whoa, and that Porsche straight into the tyre barriers there. Able to return from that, could just see the car driving away. And now Fasicolo then has got Silja Haag within target sights. Can there be a last-minute change because we're on the final lap for P2? Can these podium places be rotated? I should think that the crossbow of Silja Haag is really difficult to drive now, following that glancing blow at the barriers just here on the exit of turn 7. So Mad Silja Haag driving for all his worth. So too Giuseppe Fasicolo. And I think that probably Silja Haag has done enough. Well, Zamperini, certainly barring any technical issues, has done enough. And there is the car. Going through turn number 12, and that's where Silja Haag and Fasicolo are approaching right now, with Wiebahn down there in P4. So it's 12, 13 and 14, the final turns to be done, and heading towards turn number 14 now is Zamperini then. So Patrick Zamperini and Luca Anselmi are going to head towards the checkered flag to take the win in race 2 in the Competition 102 GT4 series. It's a win for Zamperini, who takes the checkered flag with a huge margin over Silja Haag of 5.5 seconds. Then it's Fasicolo that takes P3. Jörg Wiebahn will take P4. Then we see the best of the AM drivers, which is the number 7 car of Jerome Demey. But they're all fighting over the positions here as they head towards the timing line. It's Demey, and then it's Chadwick. And the third AM is going to be the number 67 car of Kari Mäkinen. So we have our 1, 2, 3 for each of the podiums. There's a pro podium and an AM podium, and race overall, and pro winner is Zamperini then in that Maserati. I have to say, the save for me is Silja Hag to be able to drive that car, which I can't believe that after the impact like that on the barriers that the car was handling as well as it did before. But it didn't lose another place. So Anselmi and Zamperini then winner of race 8. 1:53 was the best lap time. Well, they were lapping towards the end at 1:57.374, having taken every single ounce of adhesion from those tyres during the course of that 50-minute race. Well, once again, the Competition 102 GT4 European Series has delivered phenomenal race action, lots and lots of drama, and well, the team that will be feeling it the most, I would suggest, is going to be the racing team, Holland by Icarus Motorsport team, with Rob Savers out and Bernhard van Oranje finishing actually in P12 in the end following that pirouette. So what looked so good for them early on, well, you can never read too much into what's going to happen, because as the drama unfolds over 50 laps, it's absolutely compelling racing. And there into the barriers. Just behind the barriers there. There's one of the cars out of the race. Rob Severs, of course, we saw out earlier. That provoked a safety car. And the cars make their way back to Parc Fermé now. What a race! So, Zamperini, Silja Hag and Fascicolo, along with on the podium it's going to be Chadwick, Mäkinen, and taking the top step in the podium is going to be Demey and Dupont. Look at the delight there. Discussions going on there between Zamperini and Luca Anselmi. But Fascicolo and Calamia, discussion as well, and delight also. Going to be a really lively podium, I feel. And the drivers will be heading up there shortly. I have to say, I was so impressed with Silja Hag's performance there, and absolutely remarkable driving. What a race that has been. Competition 102 GT4 European Series race number 2 lived up to all expectations, and down there in the Parc Fermé area for us now is Nina Fiefner.
Hello, Patrick. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It was a great race. So how was the race? It was quite a battling.
Listen, the race was good. Was really good. I knew we had the pace. We have done 2 pole position. We have done the fastest lap on yesterday's race. We have been really unlucky because we blew our tires, but we had the win of yesterday in the pocket as well. Luca had a bit of problem to warm up the tires on his first stint, but then I knew that I was faster than the others. I was super calm. And a bit of lucky as well, because with the safety car I could catch back the gap that I had. And then I overtook, I pushed 3-4 laps, I saw that I got a gap, and then I just was looking forward to go to the end. I'm super happy for the team because it was quite tough the weekend. We lost a car, etc., so it's good.
Great, congratulations, thank you very much.
So the Lord Corsa then are, of course, delighted. Good to hear from Patrick Zamperini then. Oof, look at the size of relief that able to get that crossbow home following that barrier skirmish. And there you can see Zamperini and Anselmi and Shilyag and Dresser and Kalami and Fashikolo are going to be up there on the podium. Terting Viban then taking P4, then it was Dupont and Dumay and the rest of the order there. But the real disappointment for the Icarus M4 GT4 look, Bernhard van Oranje and Ricardo van der Ende finishing P12 because they had that spin around, and of course their stablemate car, Rob Savers, was out, which was what actually threw the safety car that allowed Zamperini to close in on the margin earlier on. So, well, there we have it, and there the returning number 64 car of Vinker and Vlok that we did see up against the barriers right at the closing stages of the race as well. But this in replay as Zamperini then heads towards the checkered flag, having done a good job, and as he said, he feels that they were denied yesterday with that puncture, so going to be delighted to be up on the top step of the podium, and as quite rightly said, very good for Valour Corsa, the team as well. And that's how chuffed to bits they were down there, and Fashikolo was absolutely like thing possessed. Goodness me. Well, it's great, and it really livens up the championship to go into the final round at Zandvoort, of course. So Zamperini wins then by a 5.5-second margin over Siljahag, and it was within a second of Siljahag and Fashikolo towards the end. Okay, super slow-mos of the top three. Giuseppe Fashikolo then that brought the car home to take P3 on the podium. For P2, though, it was the snappy little KTM crossbow of Mad Siljahag that will take the second step on the podium. And no disputing the domination over the final part of the race with regards to the race winner. It was the number 90 Maserati GTMC GT4 of Anselmi and Zamperini. And Zamperini doing the second stint of the driving and doing it very, very well. They're already up on the podium is Fashikolo and Calamia. Mad Siljahag in the number 84 car, along with Maciek Dresser, doing a great job, and National Anthem playing out already. We've had various different versions of national anthems across this weekend. They've either been the full versions or abbreviated versions, depending on how much room is left in the cassette that I think it's been played out from. Okay, trophy presentation time.
And the trophies are going to be presented by Mr.
Stefan Rattel from SRO here to make the trophy presentation.
SRO Motorsports Group.
So GT4 going from strength to strength, and with race action like that, there's no surprise, is there? Absolutely brilliant racing that we've enjoyed across two races this weekend for the Competition 102 European Series GT4 Championship. And stand by then as the champagne is very liberally sprayed across the podium, and then the lady with the mop will have to arrive because there's also the AM podium to be had as well. Of course, the drivers, having done all the racing for the weekend now, ain't going to matter if their race suits are utterly soaked in champagne. So, well done to the 1, 2, 3, Zamperini, Siljahag and Fashikolo, who took the second stint in driving, but their teammates also doing hard work during the first stint of driving as well. They make their way off the podium now. Dresser and Siljahag then, and as I say, I still think it was remarkable from Siljahag to have driven. So there we have it then, just some of the highlights, and there were many across the two GT4 European Series races across the weekend. Thank you so much for being part of it. The final round comes up at Zandvoort in just a few weeks' time. Bye-bye for now.